This week's Parsha is Lech Lecha. And as we know that Abraham leaves his father's house in Haran, and he brings Sarai, his wife, and his nephew Lot. And the interesting thing is Lot is traveling with him the entire time. And they even go to Egypt together. Nice little trip there. They got cameras, photos taken together, beachfront resort. No, I don't think so. But in any case, Lot is traveling with him, and they come back out of Egypt, and they go back into the land of Israel, and they both got a lot of sheep, and the town is not big enough for the both of us. And Avram has to separate from Lot. So, hey, I understand there's a nephew. Yeah, but what's the thing about the nephew? There's too much in that nephew. What's with that nephew, right? So, of course, once we have to peel off the layers to understand that the Torah is speaking about our own individual soul connection. And Lot is the Yetzer Hara. Lot is the evil inclination. But you say there's different kind of evil inclination because it takes many forms. The evil urge, that thing that came inside of us. Once Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And there's many different ways to go ahead and fix it and rectify it. So here we see Avram. He has to separate from Lot. And Lot has to go his way, and Avram goes his way. What? Well, it's about separating from a certain influence. It's an influence that's within us. What is the influence of Lot? Lot, he got influence from Avram. He saw all the wonderful, unbelievable acts and deeds that Avram did. But he still was stuck in the lower influences, the more lowly activities. As we see, because we see where he chose to go. Where did he choose to go? He chose to go to Sodom, to live by those people. Lot is the concept of good and bad mixed. I could be attached to God, and I can eat my bacon, right? That's the idea here that's being expressed that Abraham, our soul, needs to be aware of and separate from. That there's a part which gets convoluted, it gets mixed good and evil. It's a mitzvah to eat bacon. If you're, or whatever it is. I'm just, it's an extreme example. But there's that good and bad mix where in the voices that come from our heart, sometimes they make it appear as if it's a mitzvah, but it's really not a mitzvah. And, it's the good and bad mixed. It's the thing that you could serve God half the time and not all the time, and not be completely dedicated to your Creator and to bringing God in the world. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. We must completely dedicate ourselves. You have to. Constantly. No matter where you are, you got to put up the fight. You got to say, hey, there's a Lot, and we got to separate from that part of us that seems to confuse good and evil, or seems to think that it's a gray area. Good job.